Today on Bloomberg Quint, we're joined by Alan Mamedi. He's the co-founder and CEO of a very popular app which you probably use in India, Truecaller, one of the top-ranked apps on the Android Play Store, on the Apple Store as well. Alan, thanks so much for joining us on Bloomberg Quint.
Thank you.
You know, when it comes to spam calls around the world, Truecaller does a neat job at blocking and perhaps filtering them, and it's quite a boon to a lot of users in India and around the world. But is it true that based on your findings, you guys come out with a yearly report as well, that India is unfortunately the world's most spam call play country, so to speak?
Yeah, it is. It is. And, you know, one of the reasons is because phone calls and text messages is still one of the most efficient way of communicating with people, which is why this is a big channel for different corporations to reach out to customers or any individual, basically. And what we saw in India was that just one carrier, one telco, spammed or called over 38 million times or 31 million times during 2017, which is a lot of calls from just one telco. And then you have several telcos and you have several other companies. So obviously this is it's a huge problem. And what we see in our survey is that a lot of women actually take an action on it. In fact, two-thirds are actually two-thirds are actually taking an action on it, whereof 65% are also installing an app to prevent this. Because keep in mind that your phone number is an open gateway for anyone to reach you, and no one is taking an action to prevent this from happening. Not the telcos and not the mobile manufacturers. So this is a space where we find that we will have a big play in, and we're all about making communication safer and more efficient, and this is our mission.
Right, it's interesting, Alan, that you mentioned telcos and one particular telco. Now, I know you're not going to share the name of that telco with me, but just to understand, what other tags, because I know on Truecaller you guys work with tags, saying real estate brokers or other companies, insurance agents. What are the, just to understand, and for all our viewers watching, what are the most relevant tags that actually crop up when someone uses the caller ID service on Truecaller in India?
Well, a telco is obviously a tag that pops up often. You have a lot coming from the banking industry. Now that a lot is being digitalized as well, there is a lot of communication happening there as well. But it's also a lot of, you could call it banking companies who are trying to approach people in different ways to take a loan or something else. And then there's a lot of scamming happening on that side as well. But I would say telcos and banks are the two top tags that pop up.
Right, Alan. Now you've led me to my next question, which is about Truecaller Pay. Now that's a service that you've launched, a UPI-based service that you've launched in India recently. And of course it's an interesting space, since you're talking about it, the payment space in India, considering, well, Paytm is a very dominant player, and it has become over the years. And now we have WhatsApp, which has rolled out a beta version, but WhatsApp payments is also, we're also waiting a full-scale rollout. And well, a lot of users in India actually use WhatsApp. Now that you guys have partnered with ICICI Bank, how has that partnership worked? And considering the dominance of Paytm and perhaps the imminent arrival of WhatsApp payments, is that a tough place to find yourselves in?
So it's a very good question, and Paytm is obviously a very big player in this space, and we believe that what's happening right now in the digital payment space, this is just the beginning. And what we have compared to many others in the space is that we have the reach, but we have a different belief as well. We believe that every transaction happens after a conversation, and this is where Truecaller is very different from anyone else. And in most conversations, if that is a phone call or text message, Truecaller is more or less always involved in that. So we have a different approach. We believe that we can make the experience of making a payment transaction much better than anyone else. We look at it differently, and I think this is a space that a couple of players will have a big opportunity to make the experience better for the end consumer. So I think it's, in the end, if we can bring and other players can bring a better experience for the end consumer, and the end consumer is the winner, then that's great. So that's more how we look at it. And we've had some very good traction, and this is something that we're just going to continue to double down on.
Interesting, Alan. You know, since we're talking about India offerings and India services, when it comes to Truecaller, you guys have a massive market here in India, so to speak. Nearly 60% of your users come from India. And of course, considering the findings of your survey, we can understand how useful the app is. But just to understand from you, how some of these product rollouts work when it comes to India, because I know you've also launched True Message a few years ago, and you rolled it out for the first time in India, and it's been doing well, considering, well, people have to actually opt to make True Message their SMS app on their phone. Just using that perhaps as an illustration of what your plans are in India, how imperative is India as a market for Truecaller?
It's a very important market for us. As you mentioned, over 60% of our user base is here. We have a pretty big team as well, both in Delhi and Bangalore and Mumbai. So we see India as a starting point for us. Everything we build, we start building it here, and over time we'll start to replicate our success into other markets. Like Africa is one of our big markets as well, Middle East. We launched True Messenger a couple of years back in 2014, and I would say it was a huge success, and it was a separate product. So to start with, we wanted to build a separate product, understand the consumer behavior, and then last year we merged True Messenger into Truecaller as a part of your communication experience. So Truecaller manages your phone calling experience and your text message experience. So it's been a really great journey, and we're going to continue to do these type of product developments where we start here and then we go outside of India.
You know, Alan, it's interesting when you talk about Truecaller, and it's had an interesting growth story over the years in India and around the world. But something I want to understand from you is considering how you guys are expanding and diversifying. Well, essentially, it was originally a spam caller blocking app, which has done so well for itself. What is Truecaller's business model like around the world? Is targeted advertising and brand partnerships the revenue model, or is there something else that you guys are coming up with as well?
Yeah, we're monetizing on advertisement, just as many other technology companies are doing. We are improving our premium subscription offering as well, which is something we're going to see even more this year. So those are the two paths that we're taking on the monetization and the business model side. When we're building new things, like payments, for instance, we don't think about how are we going to monetize this. We rather think, how can we build something and bring a great experience that our customers will like and that solves a problem they have. Just like we did back in the days when we built Truecaller as your pure caller ID and spam blocking app. We just wanted to solve a problem that people had. So I believe that if you have that approach to everything you do, then the business model will just be a byproduct of that. And I think that's really important, an important mindset that every company needs to have, and that's something that we continue to have and will work hard to keep.
Right, Alan, you mentioned Truecaller's premium service, and that's something you've been marketing around the world as well. But just to understand how it works, essentially it's a paid subscription service for largely an app that everyone uses for free, but obviously you offer some features which makes it ad-free, and you get, I think, 30 contact requests in a month where I can actually mention the name and get a contact. Just to understand how you guys are maintaining the fine line between what Truecaller stands for and what this premium service stands for, doesn't it in a way defeat the very purpose of Truecaller?
No, I don't think so. the core Truecaller offering, which is making your communication safer and more efficient, that will remain free. And we'll continue to give that away for free to our customers. Now, there are things that you can build over time that bring some extra value to that might not be attractive to everyone, but more for the professionals or more for those who have a certain need. So that's sort of our mindset on the premium subscription. As you said, today we're offering an ad-free solution. We're giving you 30 contact requests for free per month. And this is just the beginning. We started to launch the monthly subscription end of last year, and we've seen a pretty strong subscription base growing strongly month over month. So I think that's a very good path to monetization, and we'll continue to improve our offering. And as I said, in a couple of months you will see that offering become even stronger, but the core product will remain free. That's our ambition.
Very interesting, Alan. As a last question, I have to ask you, when it comes to India, are there any particular plans that we can expect some sort of rollouts or any beta rollouts in the coming months?
Yeah, for sure. We have a couple of things that we're working on. In Bangalore, we have a pretty big product team as well, who are working on more local specific things. So there are a few things coming out in the coming months and this year. So stay tuned for it. It's going to be some really exciting stuff.
All right, Alan, really appreciate you joining us on Bloomberg Quint and being so candid with all of our questions. Thanks so much for joining us. And like you said, stay tuned for your service. For all viewers that were watching this particular broadcast, stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint.